Islam, Islam, Islam. We are here, we are here, we are here for 30 minutes more or less. Greetings and a warm welcome to all tuning in today. Here at Califa Media, we're committed to learn more by unveiling the truths that have been obscured, not buried, by rediscovering the roots that connect us to our rich and diverse heritage. In today's presentation, we're embarking on a journey of enlightenment and empowerment. Our focus, to shift the narrative from being imposed upon with the label Foundational Black Americans, or F.B.A., to embracing the identity our ancestors proudly held, Moors, contemporarily Moorish Americans. This isn't merely about changing terms. It's about awakening to our authentic selves, to the legacy left by our forefathers, and to the powerful heritage that runs through our veins. Join me as we delve into why our names matter and how reclaiming our true identity can reshape our perceptions, our community, and our future. As usual, before we embark on this journey, let's ensure we're all on the same page by defining key terms. Y'all know I love definitions. These definitions are drawn from Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, published in 1957, Webster's Unabridged Dictionary, published in 1955, and the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, also published in 1955. So we're going to start with the definition. Since we're talking about foundational Black Americans, let's start with that word, Black. All right, from Black's Law Dictionary, Black person. So-called Black person occurring in Constitution and laws must be taken in its generic sense as contradistinguished from white. So of course, when we get to a definition that has another word that sounds like it needs to be defined, let's define that. So let's go to white person from the same book, Black's Law Dictionary. White persons, as used in revised statutes, U.S. Code section 2169, members of the white or Caucasian race as distinguished from the black, red, yellow, and brown races. Okay, so we're talking about caste systems, okay? Because there is no Blackovania, no Blackistan, no Whitetopia, no red, I don't know. Redia? I don't know. None of these allude to nations. So these are all caste systems, And caste, you can always find them guaranteed in a colony, because colonizers are not trying to be dealing with nationality, because they are immediately disqualified and their position can be and should be challenged. Continuing on, since we're speaking of colonies and nations, next definition, nation. From Black's Law. A people, I think we've gone over this before. A nation, a people or aggregation of men existing in the form of an organized jural society, usually inhabiting a distinct portion of the earth, speaking the same language, using the same customs, possessing historic continuity, and distinguished from another like group by their racial origins and characteristics, and generally, but not necessarily, living under the same government and sovereignty. So, right? So, whereas Asia, the continent of Asia, is covered with all different kinds of people, those are not one people. They have the same racial origin, yes, Asian. They have the same characteristics, Mongoloid, but they're all divided into Korean, Japanese, Mongolian, some parts of Russian, all that, China. So yeah, they distinguish themselves into groups so they can get some stuff done, namely under their same government and sovereignty. Next definition, nationality. That quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth, nativity, right, or by naturalization, which is a really funny term to me, right? Naturalization, like you can act as nature, as if your power extends beyond that of the great God Allah, also known as nature. So, national, pertaining or relating to a nation as a whole, commonly applied in American law to institutions, laws, or affairs of the United States or its government, as opposed to those of the several states. That's funny. I'm not gonna get into that. The term national the term national, as used in the phrase national of the United States, is broader than the term citizen. Okay? Nationalization. In Spanish and Mexican law, nationalization. This is how the Black's Law Dictionary defines it, okay? The nationalization, this is the example they give, which is interesting. In Spanish and Mexican law, nationalization. And the example that's given is, the nationalization of property is an act which denotes that it has become that of the nation by some process of law, whereby private individuals or corporations have been, for specified reasons, deprived thereof. So yeah, I love telling my children the glorious tale of, was it Venezuela? When Hugo Chavez nationalized the oil industry after all those colonists came in and built it up and they tried to sue him. And the international court was like, did you make a deal with the people? Well, we made a deal with one of those people, just one. Yeah. And that's not the same government? No. Well, can't help you. You might want to keep that in mind. Nationalization. One more time. The nationalization of property is an act which denotes that it has become that of the nation by some process of law, whereby private individuals or corporations have been, for specified reason, deprived thereof. Okay? Next one. And I'm just giving you the definition so we can get into the meat of this, okay? Alien. Noun, a foreigner, one born abroad, a person who owes allegiance to a foreign government, aka a colonist, an invader, or a settler, or as I like to call the modern ones, an invader. All the ones that have airlines attached to their national name because they know the day's gonna come when they gotta raise up out of here, right? So those are all aliens, right? If you have a picture, most of them, if you have a picture, a video, a song, a story of somebody getting off of a boat or a plane to get over here, you're an alien. I'm talking to you, okay? So alien, right? A foreigner, right? Natural, same from all this is still from Black's Law. The juristic meaning of this term does not differ from the vernacular, except in the cases where it is used in opposition to the term legal. And then it means proceeding from or determined by physical causes or conditions as distinguished from the positive enactments of law, or attributable to the nature of man rather than the commands of law, or based upon moral rather than legal considerations and sanctions. Natural, okay? So what was it before some human put it through their strainer, their mental strainer? You know, because that's, once you do something to it, it's not natural anymore, right? So I'm getting to that's it's all gonna make sense in a minute. Naturalization. Again, it's just a weird term to me, right? Naturalization, the act of adopting, something that's not actually of your blood, a foreigner, and clothing him with the privileges of a native citizen, to confer citizenship upon an alien, to make a foreigner the same in respect to rights and privileges as if he were a native citizen or subject. Naturalized citizen, one who, being an alien by birth, right? And that birth could be like, German. What were you before somebody got on a boat? Okay. Being alien by birth, has received citizenship under the laws of the state or nation. Okay. So that word law kept coming up when I was reading through this. So I looked it up. But I'm like, wait a minute. Let me look at legal first, right? Legal. First definition. Conforming to the law, according to the law, Wait, I looked up legal and it's giving me law twice already. Required or permitted by law. That's 3 times. Not forbidden or discountenanced by law. Good and effectual in law. So what am I supposed to take from this first definition? Before I say anything about it, let's go through the second one. Proper or sufficient to be recognized by the law. Cognizable in the courts, competent or adequate to fulfill the requirements of the law. Third definition, cognizable in courts of law as distinguished from courts of equity. Construed or governed by the rules or principles of law. In contradistinction to the rules of equity. By the courts as an inference or imputation of the law as a matter of construction rather than established by actual proof, e.g. legal malice, see lawful. Created by, number 5, created by law. 6, lawful. Of or pertaining to law, so not actually the law. It's legal. That goes back to that natural versus alien. All right. So let's look at law. Law, that which is laid down, ordained, or established. A rule or method according to which phenomena or actions coexist or follow each other. A rule or method according to which phenomena or actions coexist or follow each other. That which must be obeyed and followed by citizens. Subject to sanctions or legal consequence. Okay, as a so-called law. All right, so you break the law and we're going to impose some of our man-made stuff legal on you, okay? Okay, so metaphysical law, in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, which we also referring to tonight, the law of God is the orderly working out of the principle of being or the divine ideals into expression and manifestation throughout creation. The quote, heart is the subconsciousness of man. The laws of Jehovah are written on the heart of man by meditating on and realizing spiritual ideals as the reality of his being. See Deuteronomy 6:6 through 9, Hebrews 8:10, and 10:16. Okay. So now that we looked up, what did we look through? Black versus white. Alien versus natural, right? And law versus legal, okay? And what does all this have to do with black people, okay? From Webster's Dictionary, the unabridged version, native, okay? Because people always getting these two terms confused. And I'm thinking this is where, I'm going to be honest and admit that I did not do a thorough researching of FBA, because before I even had a chance to get interested in BIPOC, FBA popped up. All right. I'm like, it's all stupid. I'm just going to be honest. It's all dumb. Y'all just making up stuff so you can be the next Jesse, I guess. Right. And y'all going to love who popped up when I Googled FBA. Right. And it's like, of course, I'm just going to leave it right there with some images. Fair use. Right. You make yourself a public spectacle. Get put on display. Yes. OK. So anyway, it just figures. And it's so obvious. It's just like with what's his name? Krusty Crump. That dude. It's obvious to those of us who've been around long enough. He's trying to become the head scumbag in the office. That kind of thing. Because Messy Jesse and Fat Then Skinny Al, they're getting old, so people are looking to replace them. So I guess they thinking, let's start branding, and they're branding you, right? They selling you out, right? So anyway, I'm guessing again, because I admit I did not go deep into this because it is stupid. All right. This is like a Chinese person researching why are they calling me yellow. I don't need to dignify that with research. It's dumb, right? But anyway. I'm positing, because I could be wrong, but it seems to me that BIPOC was bypassed, which is hilarious. The Byword BIPOC was bypassed because all this talk of reparations people are seeing green. They want that paper. They don't want the land, right? They just want the paper. I guess they don't want to share. So to make sure, and I kind of don't blame them, to make sure that people who just got here and when pressed hard enough will tell you a nation, right? They don't, the people who keep changing their name every 20 years, they don't want to share. I don't blame them, right? Because real talk, the kind of slavery they had in the islands was not the kind of slavery they had in Mississippi. I promise you. I know I have a degree in history. I'm not trying to toot my horn. But again, I was raised learning that everybody's lying. So I went to school and learned how to find the truth, right? So, yeah, y'all slavery wasn't like ours. And then there's the Africans. I'm gonna call y'all out, the ones who helping these colonists to come home. Give me a break. What was that? 100 million of us shipped out, and ain't none of y'all got no stories about missing relatives. Anyway, give me a break. So they coming over here. So I guess this what is this called? I forgot it already. Foundational Black Americans. I guess that makes sure it's like, nah, you from Jamaica, nah, you Nigerian, you not being counted as black in this sense. You're okay with being called black until, of course, we all know how that go. You're okay with being called black until something actually happens, then you whip out that nationality. Not guaranteed it helps, because look how bad they do the Haitians, right? But it's still better than just nothing, right? And Amadou Diallo, I think he proved that. It's like, why was there such a stink made about that man? Because his nationality came up. Anyway, so I'm guessing, right, that FBA, Foundational Black American, is coming up because Black people don't want to share. I don't blame them. I really don't blame them, right? I get it. But rather than calling yourself yet another form of black, why don't you just actually come out and call yourself what you are, right? And it's kind of interesting that the whole indigenous part isn't even in there. I guess they're trying to make, I get it. They got put on, some of these indigenous got put on reservations. Some got put on plantations, and you don't want them to benefit from your ancestors' pain. I get it, right? But I wanted to make sure that we were clear on the definition of native versus indigenous, right? Because the fact that these natives, right? And I'm just being honest, truthful, based in law. I don't know any of you people, so I cannot hold anything personal against you, right? I'm just looking at the situation and examining it as it is. So the fact that you're calling yourselves natives and you are doing nothing to get your stuff back. I'm not saying you can't, but from what because I lived in Arizona, I went to school in Nebraska for a while, we had to take Native American studies. And I'm just like, y'all don't act like this is your stuff. Like, you don't want it back bad enough, because you're admitting that it's not yours by calling yourself Native American, or my favorite, American Indian, which is just as valid as African American. Could you please pick one continent? How many continents are Indian people from? And then that begs the question, if you're American Indian, what are those people that come over from India? What are they? They're Indian American and you're American Indian. Do you see how stupid this sounds? And then it's your two continents. Pick one, right? Anyway, the same thing with African American. You can't, which one are you, right? Pretty close. You got it half right. How about that? So anyway, these natives, I looked up and I'm giving you all the definition of native. It means a person born or a thing produced in a place or country indicated. So I could go over to perfect example. Someone in Korea, okay? They're in the military in Korea and she has a baby. Is that baby Korean? Just because they were born over there? No, they're native because that's where their nativity was. Nativity as in defining it, birth. The time, place, and manner of birth. In astrology, a representation of the positions of the heavenly bodies at the moment of birth, and it's supposed to foretell the future, blah, blah, blah. So, native just means where you were born. The gangs of New York did a bang-up job on that, where you had one group of colonists who was actually born in New York was calling themselves the what? the natives. And they were going at it all the time with I forgot what they called the other group, the ones who just got there, off the boat, right? I'm like, well, y'all both fighting over, what are y'all fighting over? Neither one of y'all supposed to be here. But I'm just like, that's weird. I think that's what made me look it up, that these Caucasians were calling themselves natives, right? And then that led me to like, wow, no wonder the Native Americans can't get their stuff back. And then here come their Asian brethren messing it up for them even more. They from over here, right? They from over here, right? Yup, I agree. You are absolutely right. These people calling themselves Native Americans are from over there. I will not argue with you. Meanwhile, I'm from here, all right? And I'm trying to get my stuff back, and it's kind of working. But anyway, so Native, you were just born here. It's where you were born. Indigenous, right? Looking at the Latin, the root of it, right? Indu, the old Latin, Indu, means from within. And then with the new Latin, within. And gignere, what is that? Gignere, to bear or produce, okay? And then it has in there native, born, growing or produced naturally in a country or region, not exotic. I'm gonna look that up. As corn and cotton are indigenous to North America, okay? Goes on, and then I looked up exotic, okay? Exotic. Now a foreign or noun, a foreign or imported thing, like a colonist. A plant that is not native. Adjective, foreign, introduced from a foreign country, not native, extraneous, as an exotic plant, an exotic term or word. Okay? So, say all that last definition from Webster's. Byword. That's the last definition. Byword. Okay? A common saying. A proverb. A saying that has a general currency. Second definition. A nickname. Third definition. A thing, a person, a thing, as being contemptible or ridiculous. All right. I don't know. You want to be contemptible and ridiculous? Letting people name you, everybody show up at the party and gotta ask, so yeah, we all grew up together. What you call yourself? Do you understand how stupid and it makes you look like a child, which is why people call black folks minorities, because they can't even get the basics right. Stop it. All right. We actually have something that's ours, something to be very, very proud of. And now that we got those definitions down, let's go into what that thing to be proud of is. All right. Before we dive deeper, let's go back and examine a little more what we mean by FBA, or Foundational Black American. This term has surged in popularity as a way, again, to distinguish the descendants of those whose ancestors were so-called enslaved within the United States versus those who can claim an African or Caribbean nationality when pressed. No matter what you think of that nationality, they got a flag, they got a seat at the UN, all right? This is referring to the people in the United States who cannot say that. Okay. FBA seeks to create a distinct identity, one rooted in the unique historical and cultural experiences of individuals held captive in chattel slavery in the southern United States of America. Okay. But as we peel back the layers, we're met with a critical question. Does this term really capture the essence of who we are, our historical depth, and the breadth of our ancestors' journeys pre-captivity? Or does it serve as yet another means to confine us within boundaries set by a past that sought to strip us of our true identity? As we ponder this, let's not forget the power of names. They are not just labels, they're spells. They're a reflection of history, culture, and legacy, right? To paraphrase Taj Tariq Bey, when you know who you are, you know who they are, and you know how to deal with them accordingly, all right? Which is why, Psalms 83, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. Everybody is here trying to keep us from claiming what's ours, all right? Anyway, it's time we ask ourselves if FBA or any of these other bywords, right? The things that make us contemptible and ridiculous, align with the legacy we wish to acknowledge and pass down to our children. History is not just a series of events. It's a tapestry of stories, identities, and names that carry the weight of our ancestors' experiences. The terms Black, African American, just listen to that, Black, African American, BIPOC, and F.B.A. have all served to denationalize and separate us from our identity at different points in time. But they do not encompass the full spectrum of our heritage. The term Moorish or Moorish American, I would look up Moorish because Moorish American is contemporary, opens a door to a history rich with culture, wisdom, and resilience. It harkens back to a time when our ancestors were known by names we chose, names that signified our knowledge, our lands, right? Mauritania, Morocco, Mauritius, all right? America, all right? We can actually find these people in quite a few places, but anyway, all right? Embracing Moorish American is not just about reclaiming a name. It's about reconnecting with a legacy that predates the lies of the transatlantic slave trade. One that reminds us of a time when our ancestors were scholars, architects, and traders who left indelible marks on the world. It also stops the other nations from laying claim to and profiting from our innovations. You ever notice how pretty much everything positive developed by so-called white black people belongs to the world, even though everyone knows who came up with it? Rock and roll. Oh, it's universal. Hip hop. It's universal. All right, sure. Can I say that about Suguru? Because that's Japanese, okay? Nobody can lay claim on. They can try, but they're gonna look kind of crazy because it's tied to that nation, all right? So anyway, I know I'm sick of it, right? Black is a generic term, right? It's like a ship on the sea with no flag, ready to be claimed, used, and abused by whomever happens by. You can't do that with a kimono or kente cloth or curry because those are all tied to nations. Why is it crucial for us to reclaim our identity? Imagine for a moment the power of a name. It can open doors or build walls. It can empower or disenfranchise. When we use terms imposed upon us, we unconsciously accept a narrative crafted without our consent. By reclaiming the name Moorish American, we're not just selecting a self-determined identifier based in history. We're taking back the pen to write our own story. We're affirming that our history did not start with enslavement, but has roots that stretch back to ancient civilizations. We're recognizing the strength, wisdom, and dignity that were our ancestors' hallmarks. This act of reclamation is a declaration that we are more than the sum of our past sorrows. We are the bearers of a proud legacy, and it is our right and responsibility to honor and continue that legacy. What happens when we embrace our true heritage? The impact is profound and multifaceted. On a personal level, it's a journey of self-discovery, a path that leads us to a deeper understanding of who we are and where we came from. It instills in us a sense of pride, not just in our achievements, but in the resilience and wisdom of those who came before us. Collectively, embracing our Moorish American identity fosters a stronger community bond, one rooted in shared history and mutual respect. It's about building a legacy that our children can be proud of, one that teaches them their true worth and potential. By acknowledging and embracing our true heritage, we're not just correcting a narrative, we're transforming the future, ensuring that the next generation inherits a story of triumph, dignity, and unbreakable spirit. As we conclude today's journey, Let's reflect on the power of reclaiming our true identity. This presentation was not just about exploring the historical and cultural significance of our names. It was a call to action, a call to embrace the legacy of our forefathers, to honor our true heritage, and to forge a future where we're defined not by the terms imposed upon us, but by those we choose for ourselves. We invite you to continue this conversation, to explore your heritage, and to stand proud as Moorish Americans. Okay? Be sure to share this video, engage with us in the comments, right? And join us as we continue to uncover and celebrate our rich heritage. Follow Califa Media for more insights, discussions, and revelations. Together, let's embrace our past to shape our future. Thank you for watching, and remember, your identity is your legacy. Islam, peace and love. Bye-bye.